Hello. So, a couple of things that I had on my heart that I decided I was going to record a video of instead of just write my notes and then never talk about it. So, real talk. Something I was thinking about, different lies that we believe in this world, and there are a lot of them, but we're just going to stay on this one subject, hopefully one subject. This world that we live in is very judgmental, and we like to put people in these boxes where we think based off of how their lives are going depends on which box they'll be placed in. And from being abused in different ways would be different boxes, or going through different everyday life struggles and choices would be different boxes, or just how many times you've gone through difficult things or losses throughout your life would be different boxes. And it's like a lot of people let the world decide how they feel about things, how badly they're allowed to feel about, being abused, if it's a big deal or not, how big of a deal it is. So then we feel bad about taking the steps to talk about it, if that makes sense. So, let me see what I wrote here. We feel bad about talking about it and speaking up out of fear that it's not relevant enough to talk about. But the truth is that everything should be big enough to talk about, So in some way or another, anyway, if you're abused in some way, speaking out not only helps you get it off your chest, it can help you get closure, but it also helps empower other people to feel safe, to do the same things, talk about the things that happen to them. Like, the little stuff is important too. If we only talk about the big, bad, super horrible stuff, like being physically abused or mentally abused isn't as big as being physically abused, or being raped is like this big huge thing. And the bigger things are things that people always talk about because it's relevant. It's not like this small thing that somebody can just get over. But then the things that are smaller than that won't get talked about because people think that it's not big enough to talk about. I've gone through the same thing. I'll tell myself, oh, well, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, I don't need to talk about it. It's not like it's this. And then compare it to something that's bigger than what happened. So, like being mentally abused, sexually assaulted, or someone simply getting too close and making you uncomfortable. All these things to people are smaller than the other stuff, when really it's even. Something bad happened to you, and you deserve to talk about it. You feel the right to be able to talk about it without other people being like, oh, well, that's not really that big of a deal. Like, you'll get over it fast enough. Like, it'll just be fine. And I don't think that's right at all. Oops, my alarm's going off. I personally am not going to let Satan keep trying to tell me that the things that happen to me aren't big enough to speak out about, because that's definitely how it's been for the past little while. Like, in reality, I need to keep giving it to God and then speak up about, being sexually abused and harassed and mentally abused and a bunch of other stuff by someone. If I keep letting these thoughts that Satan's giving me and saying, like, well, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not like this. It's not like, this happened to you. It was just this. But it is a big deal. It is a big deal, and it shouldn't have ever happened in the first place. And, a lot of people have a lot of things that happen to them that shouldn't happen at all, and it's really horrible. And if I can't take the steps to get there, and then I'm not doing anything to help and stop somebody hurting the little kids that I care for. My younger siblings or friends of my mom's friends, kids, or the kids that I babysit, or just kids that go to my church, or anyone actually, really. I'm not setting an environment example of, if this happened to you, then you should talk about it. A lot of people are just like, oh, don't talk about it. Like, it's fine. And it's not fine. None of it's fine. If I can be strong and speak up, then other people can too. And then at least I'm doing something for the people around me to not be afraid anymore of what people might say. The right people around you will always be around you. If there are people around you that are trying to tell you that, you don't need to talk about it and just kind of sweep it under the rug, it'll be fine. Like, those are not good people to have around you. The right people will tell you that you are doing the right thing by talking about it and speaking up. And that's something that I want to be able to do to, just be an example. Because then other people, the other kids that very sadly were hurt in some way by somebody else or multiple other people, will see me and hopefully other people more in the future that weren't afraid to, speak up about it. And then they'll be like, oh, I can do that. I can do that too. And then, by speaking up about if somebody hurt you in some way, telling somebody, your parents, if you have to, like the police or whatever, then that stops that person from getting another chance to go and hurt somebody else in the same way or worse than they hurt you. I wouldn't want the person that hurt me to be able to go out and just kind of keep hurting other girls like they hurt me, and or possibly even worse in some way in the future. And then, I don't want them for the girls or for that person, because I wouldn't want to go through that. I don't want them to screw up their life like that. If they can fix it now, then come out now and talk about it so that they get the chance to make that choice now and realize, oh, I messed up, I shouldn't have done that, and I need help. And so whether you think it's big or small, speaking up can help other people so that doesn't happen again to the person or people who hurt you. Don't let them get another chance to do the same thing to someone else or worse. So, one step at a time and one person at a time to break and burn the boxes that the world puts us in is eventually going to make a big difference when you're teamed up with people around you, and when you're teamed up with God and you have Him on your side. It's never going to fail. It's not going to work out for you, and it's not going to be like every situation is going to be like this win-win situation. It's someone's always going to lose, but we all have choices to make, whether we like it or not, and we need to make the choices to to stop letting ourselves be put in those boxes, and to stop putting other people in those boxes, because we're not going to get anywhere if we're in a box. So yeah.